In the heart of a dense forest, there stood an old, decrepit mansion. Its once grand facade was now obscured by vines and shadows, and whispers of its sinister past lingered in the air like a chilling fog. The locals spoke of it only in hushed tones, warning travelers to steer clear of its haunted halls. On a moonless night, four friends dared each other to spend an hour inside the mansion, their nerves tingling with a mixture of fear and excitement. Armed with nothing but a flickering flashlight, they cautiously stepped through the creaking front door, each footfall echoing ominously through the empty foyer. As they explored the dimly lit corridors, the air grew heavy with the weight of the mansion's secrets. Shadows danced along the walls, and strange noises echoed from unseen corners. Despite their growing unease, they pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the mansion's dark reputation. With each passing minute, the tension mounted, and the mansion seemed to come alive around them. Doors slammed shut of their own accord, and ghostly whispers echoed through the halls. Yet still, they pushed deeper into the labyrinthine maze of rooms, their courage fueled by a mixture of bravado and terror. But as the hour wore on, their bravado began to wane, replaced by a gnawing sense of dread. It was then that they stumbled upon a door they hadn't noticed before, hidden away in a forgotten corner of the mansion. With trembling hands, they pushed it open, revealing a small, dimly lit room beyond. Inside, they found themselves face to face with a sight that froze their blood in their veins. The walls were lined with dusty portraits, their eyes following the intruders with a malevolent gaze. In the center of the room stood a lone figure, shrouded in darkness, its features obscured by shadows. With a sudden, bone-chilling creak, the door slammed shut behind them, trapping them in the room with the mysterious figure. Panic set in as they frantically searched for a way out, but the walls seemed to close in around them, suffocating them with their oppressive presence. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the haunting stopped. The door swung open, revealing the moonlit forest beyond. With trembling limbs and racing hearts, they stumbled out into the night, vowing never to return to the mansion's cursed halls. But as they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had awakened something dark and malevolent within the mansion's forgotten room, something that would haunt their nightmares for years to come. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but the memory of their harrowing experience in the mansion refused to fade. Each night, they were plagued by restless dreams filled with whispers and shadows, and they found themselves unable to shake the feeling that they were being watched. Despite their best efforts to move on with their lives, the four friends couldn't escape the lingering sense of unease that had settled over them like a shroud. It seemed as though the mansion's dark influence had followed them home, casting a pall over their every waking moment. Then, one fateful night, a sudden knock at the door shattered the fragile semblance of normalcy they had managed to maintain. With trepidation gnawing at their hearts, they opened the door to find a letter lying on the doorstep, its edges yellowed with age. As they unfolded the brittle parchment, their blood ran cold at the words scrawled across its surface. "Come back to the mansion. The forgotten room awaits." A chill swept through them as they realized that the nightmares they had tried so desperately to leave behind were far from over. Against their better judgment, they knew they had no choice but to return to the mansion once more, to confront the darkness that lurked within its haunted halls. Gathering their courage, they set out into the night, the moon casting eerie shadows across the forest floor. As they approached the mansion, they could feel its malevolent presence looming over them like a specter, drawing them inexorably closer to their fate. With trembling hands, they pushed open the creaking front door, the musty scent of decay washing over them like a suffocating wave. The mansion seemed even more foreboding than they remembered, its corridors stretching out before them like a labyrinth of shadows and secrets. They made their way through the dimly lit halls, their hearts pounding in their chests with every step. Each creak of the floorboards sent shivers down their spines, and they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched by unseen eyes. Finally, they reached the forgotten room, its door standing ominously ajar as though inviting them inside. With a shared glance, they stepped into the room, their breath catching in their throats at the sight that greeted them. The walls were adorned with twisted portraits, their faces contorted into grotesque masks of pain and suffering. In the center of the room stood the figure they had seen on their previous visit, its features still shrouded in darkness. But this time, there was no escape. As the door slammed shut behind them, they realized with horror that they were trapped in the mansion's grip, doomed to wander its cursed halls for eternity. And as the echoes of their screams faded into the night, the mansion claimed 4 more souls to join the countless others who had dared to venture into its depths and never returned. The mansion stood silent once more, its walls soaked in the fear and anguish of those who had dared to enter. Outside, the moon cast an eerie glow over the forest, as if mourning the fate of those lost to its depths. Meanwhile, in the nearby town, whispers of the mansion's latest victims spread like wildfire, sending shivers down the spines of all who heard them. Some claimed it was cursed by vengeful spirits, while others believed it was haunted by the souls of those who had met their end within its walls. But amidst the rumors and superstitions, a small group of skeptics refused to believe the tales of the mansion's malevolent influence. Determined to uncover the truth behind the legends, they set out into the forest under the cover of darkness, their minds filled with curiosity and a hint of skepticism. As they approached the mansion, they could feel a chill creeping into their bones, but they brushed it off as nothing more than nerves. With flashlights in hand, they cautiously made their way through the overgrown foliage, their footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night. Upon reaching the mansion, they found the front door ajar, as if beckoning them inside. Ignoring the warning signs, they stepped over the threshold and into the darkness beyond, their flashlights cutting through the shadows like knives. They explored the mansion's corridors with a sense of excitement, their skepticism slowly giving way to a growing sense of unease. Strange noises echoed through the halls, and shadows danced along the walls, leaving them feeling as though they were being watched by unseen eyes. But they pressed on, determined to unravel the mystery of the mansion once and for all. With each passing minute, the air grew heavier, and the sense of foreboding that hung over them like a shroud became almost unbearable. Finally, they reached the forgotten room, its door standing ominously ajar, just as it had for so many before them. With a shared glance, they stepped inside, their hearts pounding in their chests with anticipation. But what they found inside was not what they expected. The walls were bare, devoid of the twisted portraits that had greeted the previous visitors. The figure that had haunted their nightmares was nowhere to be seen, leaving them feeling more confused than ever. As they searched the room for clues, a sudden gust of wind sent shivers down their spines. Turning to leave, they found the door had slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside with no means of escape.